A blank game week, you say? Well, at least we're all prepared, right? I like it. I guess we'll just have to find some other sexy geezers to get into our team, shouldn't we? It's the Gameweek 29 players to watch, or just players to buy, I guess. This is the series that Bacon Boy here gets his magnifying glass out and scouts all of the best players for your FPL team. Where this week I'll chinwag with just the 4 fixtures that are happening in this big boy blanket of a game week, but also cover all different strategy options and chip usages in there as well, because that actually all depends on what players you should be getting in. So I'm going to try and mention everything to make sure you are proper covered and proper ready and proper prepared to absolutely smash this one, lads, alright? But before we get into the suggestions and the players, let's first talk about the sponsor for today, OneFootball. OneFootball is the all-in-one football app that every football fan will enjoy, where it does a ton of amazing great features which I use all of the time. These including keeping me up to date with all of the latest football news from around the world. Nah, I literally mean everywhere. It's great. But more importantly, here in the Premier League and FPL, where you can also use it to scout all of the players out there to see what ones are doing proper bits right now, and to see what ones you really want into your team. It has everything you need to gain all of that football knowledge. So if you like what you see or hear, you can click on the link at the top of the video description to download for free today. That's OneFootball, free to get right now. But right now, it's time to scout best players. Where if you didn't know, there are only 4 fixtures. 4, are you mad? Fixtures in this big boy blank game week. To be fair, if you didn't know that, then you're actually a cheeky scrub. But today, I'm going to talk about every single team here to see if they could actually be a good option in any of them. Spoiler alert, Newcastle players are in the bin, not them. But also talking about them moving forward if you also don't have your wild card as well. Or maybe even players that are sexual enough to whap into a free hit team this week. I'm going to try and cover them all. So first, we have Fulham, where I've gone for these. Where we have the Nippleman Areola, Ola Ina, and look man, it could pay off, okay? Now Fulham have been trying to go full ham lately, haven't they? Really trying to save themselves from relegation. And sometimes, when a team is up for a proper fight, they can actually do a lot better than it seems. And even pick up a few shocking results. But this week, they play against Leeds. The Leeds team that we usually associate with the very attacking and all-out Golasso team, right? But could be without the Sir Patrick Bamford up top as he picked up a bit of a knock in the last game. So with the promising defensive stats of the Fulham chirping up here, could they actually get in a clean sheet this week? Maybe so. Where Areola and maybe Aina could provide a very differential clean sheet opportunity here, or maybe a Lookman could have his own little bit of a spanking against the Leeds defence this week. Now Fulham do play Villa and Wolves just after the blank, so potential at some points as well, but you know, you wouldn't say the easiest of fixes, right? Especially in this blank against Leeds. So you probably don't need to get in all of their players, maybe not. But you know what? Maybe betting against the higher owned Leeds assets, a Fulham player could actually be it. So if you're on a free hit, I would definitely say it's a yes, cover that fixture. But a Fulham player probably isn't the priority if you don't. So you don't have to worry, but also could get some points. Then moving swiftly on to their opponents in Leeds United, where I've gone for these. With the Stuart Lord Lundstrom regen Dallas, too good for Leeds Rafinha, and Sir Patty B Ballon d'Or winning Bamford. Now yes, straight away, big boy Bamford might be out with a doubt, and that's why I put him in, just talk about him really. Where I myself have no clue if he will be back, when he'll be back. You know what, I bet you the Leeds medical team don't even know that themselves yet. But what I will say is, if you have him, you might as well keep him, right? Where I feel like most people out there, right, won't have a full team of 11 players ready for this blank game week, right? So you could instead sell your blank player and maybe keep Bamford just for the slight chance he might play. But then again, if he is really confirmed out, then yeah, chuck him in the bin. But then the other fellas we have here though, with Dallas, who is a defender, also playing in midfield quite a lot recently, and then Rafinha, who's just actually sexual at footballing. He's so good. With both of these are, you know, very capable of getting a lot of points as they've shown us throughout the season. And if Leeds do give a little bit of a spanking to the Fulham year, then surely these two players will probably be involved in all of their points. But then again, the Leeds boys are actually quite well owned, you know, so it's actually not too much of a gain or maybe getting in another one, but it is still definitely worth having, you know, 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of them, especially with them playing Sheffield United just after this. That's right, that terrible Sheffield United team in Game Week 30, ready for that lovely stuff. But then the next team to get on it, it's Brighton with these, where you will all be hoping for a ton of points with the clean sheet potential here, where I just listed all of the defenders, to be fair. Chuck them in. Where we got Lewis dunk the ball in, Benjamin Rosy Cheeks White, and the Dutch Roberto Carlos Veltman. In this blank your game, boys, the Brighton boys play the Newcastle boys. Innit, boys? Yes, that's right, boys. Which on paper is probably the best chance of a clean sheet, right, out of any of the other teams. But, unfortunately, this game is not played on paper, it's played on grass, and you never know what can happen out there. Where a lot of fellas out there, including myself, got rid of players that played this week to get in a Brighton defender last week for this fixture, and I myself got out stones to do that. Oh boy. No, that is actually, I like it. But these defenders here are actually not very high owned. I assume they'll go up quite a bit with this game week, you know. But they are playing a Newcastle team who are currently relying on Joe Linton to score all the goals. Yeah, easy clean sheet in the bag, right? But then again, they are fighting relegation. And in this proper relegation scrap between them, could it actually be a bit of a wild one and see goals flying everywhere? That I'm not too sure. But what I am sure is probably the best chance of a clean sheet with any of the defenders, yeah? So I would say it's definitely 100% worth chucking one of them in this week. But if you don't have your wild card left, then I would probably leave it at just one, because their fixtures after that are quite a bit wibbly-wobbly. Then next, it's Newcastle United with, no one. Now, does anyone actually want Newcastle United players out there? Like I'm sure there's someone out there, right? In before someone triple captains Joe Linton. But okay, just in case, I'll chuck some of them at you with these, where I've gone for Lascelles, Dubravka, and Joe Linton. You can tell I'm not suggesting these, because I just said their name and not some other random thing as well. So no, I am not suggesting you get them in, but in a relegation scrap, could they actually produce something? Where I feel like so many people are going to get in a Brighton defender. If you've already got a Brighton defender and you think you're prepared in other ways, then why not chuck a Newcastle player in there as well, you know? But it definitely should not be a priority. It should probably be one of the last things you're looking at this week. But it could be a lot of big boy differential points, alright? Don't write them off. Or do write them off, because they're probably not going to do anything. Okay then. But nah, if you're feeling a bit frisky, chuck in Joe Linton, captain him. You won't regret it, right? Definitely. But nah, Newcastle, not worth it in my opinion. Is my opinion worth a lot? No. But I don't care. But next, and you guessed it, it's the bubble-blowing West Ham with these, where I've gone for Cresswell, Lingardinho, and Antonio. Cresswell, or should I say Aaron Crosswell, is the best defender this year with the most points out of anyone in there. Then we have Lingardinho, the best FPL player as of late. No. The best player in the world as of late, right? And then we also have Antonio, the absolute walk-in protein shake beast, isn't he? But West Ham have been doing pretty damn well this season, haven't they? And they play Arsenal at home this week, where Arsenal, you know, are just coming off the back of a very good win for them, but, you know, are still mid-table Arsenal, and I get So is it actually worth bringing in a West Ham player for this? Where I do think this game is probably one of the least predictable, the most unpredictable one, where I generally could see a 0-0, or I could see a 4-0 either way, and I honestly don't know what way it's going to go. Where when a fixture is very unpredictable in a blank, especially if both teams are capable of getting all of the goals, what I like to do is chuck in at least one from either team, so, you know, you have the potential of getting some no matter what way it goes. But if you are really confident that it will go one way, and if you think that way is West Ham's way, then I think it is definitely worth getting in one of their fellas, as some of their players will probably be quite well owned this week. But be wary of their fixtures afterwards, so it's probably not too much of a priority. But the next team, and their opponent. You know, I should have just chucked in the teams playing against each other in at once. It would have saved me a lot of time. It would have saved me a lot of work. But you know what, lads? I love chatting to you. Hey, how's it going? You up to much? No, not really. But the team here is Arsenal, where I've gone for these. Where this one here, picking their players, you know, was actually quite of a damn sticky pickle, you know. With Aubameyang missing the last game because of apparently breaking some rules or something. He's a bit of a naughty boy, apparently. Then Saka picked up a small little injury, and the rest of the lads just aren't really returning that much FPL points or that much excitement in us at all, is it? And this week they do also play West Ham away, where West Ham have actually been very, very good at home for them, where they are actually second best in the league at home this season. That's pretty good. But then again, an Arsenal team just coming off a win against the Spursy, where pretty much all of the Arsenal players are very low owned, could it actually be worth it, risking it for a biscuit and getting one of them in? And you know what? I do actually think it could be. Where I do reckon the best geese to go for them would probably be a Kieran Tierney, as West Ham haven't been scoring a lot recently, apart from Lingardinho. But if they keep him quiet, then maybe a clean sheet is incoming. But then also, he is quite damn involved in all of their attacks as well. So if you do want to get one Arsenal player just to cover it, then you know what? He could be the one to do that. But if Bacon Boy wasn't quite convincing enough for that one, they do also play Sheffield United in Game Week 31 if you're not wildcarding. So that could be very much worth it, and that could maybe convince you. But Arsenal players are probably low on the priority, but maybe quite high on the potential, you know. It's whatever one you prefer to look at first. And then finally, on to the final game, with the first team in that being the Aston Villans with these. Where I've gone for a Martinez man. Sorry, the brick wall man. Not last week though, when I captained him and he conceded in the last second of the game. Cheers for that. Then we have a Matt target the clean sheets, unlike last week. And then Oliver offside Watkins. He just loves an offside apparently, doesn't he? Why? Now Villa have been quite lackluster lately, haven't they? And that is probably mainly due to them missing Grealish, you know, him out with injury. Where it's still unclear if he'll actually be back for this game. I swear it's been he could play next game for the last 4 games now. Where is he? But now they also have Bertrand Traore out injured as well. Oh dear. But their good side this season has definitely been their defence. And you know, being the most owned and highest point scoring keeper out of anyone. But then again, this week against Kane and co, can he really do something here? Can Villa really do something here? Well, I think Villa, with the injuries they have, are probably like, don't get any more in, especially if you've already got like a double up. But also, they might be one of the only trustworthy defences that you think you could actually get this week. But if you already got a Martinez or a Target, if you don't, you're a cheeky scrub, what are you doing? Then I think you don't really need to get in another one. But then maybe next week when they play Fulham in Game Week 30, that could maybe be enough to just get in one more here. And then finally, moving on to the final team this week, and it is the Spursy with these. With the golfer and the Welsh lad, Gareth Geezer Bale, Harry Kane, who seems to provide all of the FPL pain with or without him, and then Sergio Reguilon, hoping for more regular starts. Now this one is actually a bit of an interesting one here, right? Where everyone and their nan was transferring all of their players, you know, just last week. Where I even saw people getting Bale and Kane, chugging out the likes of Salah, Bruno, and all of the rest, even though they had a fixture last week, and Spursy played Arsenal. And that one didn't end up too well last week, does it? Not quite amazing from them there. But what else is also not amazing is that Spursy's most owned player in Son went off with a little injury. Oh dear. So how much will this affect them? As you know what, without them, Kane didn't actually seem that involved at all, unless you want to count the offside goal and the free kick he almost scored. Okay, he wasn't that bad. So without a Son, and also them just not really being inspiring that much last week, is getting in a Bale or Kane, or maybe even both, still worth it? And to that, I am actually going to say, maybe. Oh, sorry, my bum hurts from all this fence hitting I'm doing, innit? But no. Kane, definitely worth getting in, and could actually potentially be one of the best captains for this week, just for the sheer amount of shots Villa usually concede and all the chances, and when Kane has that many chances, surely he can score all the goals. But then Bale, on the other hand, I'm not too sure he is worth it now. Where even though, you know, he's been doing very well lately, the last game also showed us he could come off before 60 minutes and he could be very quiet in the game. Do you really want to risk that? I mean, it probably is worth it, especially if you're wildcarding. But Bale myself, not also one I'm really licking my lips on with that one, is it? But maybe the Newcastle in Game Week 30 could be teasing enough to convince you to get him in. And I would also say, if you have Son, I would probably keep him, unless you're going to free it or wildcard straight after. Because you remember the last time he got injured, right? And then he made this miraculous recovery and scored 4 goals in a game. Can you do that again, please? Thank you. So for me, I would probably say get in a Kane. If you've already got a Kane and a Bale, or maybe a Kane and a Son, that's enough for me. But maybe a Reguilon could tease you if Grealish is definitely out for Villa. And that is it for all of the individual players for every single team that play in this game week. Damn, Bacon Boy, why not just suggest everyone in the entire game, right? And then when some of them return, I call it good advice, right? I mean, yeah, that's true. Like, if I suggest everyone, then surely some of my suggestions will be right? And then I can be like, yeah, look, I suggested that player. Oh yeah, by the way, I also suggested 300 other players. But never mind that, I got this one right, yeah? But nah, okay. Looking back at the fixtures here, let's have a quick little recap. What I suggest are the best fellas to go for, and what ones you really need to be jumping on. Fulham, Leeds. A Fulham team at home playing quite well against a Leeds team who sometimes don't show up and could be missing their main striker. With the Fulham boys also being a much bigger differential pool to choose from, so could be worth getting one of them in, but probably also a good idea to get in a Leeds player if you don't already. Brighton, Newcastle. Both teams potentially having a fisticuff battle between them, a bit of a relegation scrap as they are both trying to survive that drop. So could this actually be quite of a nervy game, quite of a shaky game? Or could it actually be a more tight game as, you know, they're a bit more cautious? But the Brighton clean sheet does look one of the most safest and definitely going to be the most backed in terms of FPL players this week. So a Brighton defender, definitely worth getting them in. West Ham, Arsenal. Potentially the toughest one to call here, with a lot of unpredictability of what will happen and what will be the outcome of this game. Where both teams don't really have any very high-owned players apart from a Cresswell, or maybe also a Lingardinho, or maybe even a Soucek, remember him? Huh? So it could be worth getting in a player from either of them if you don't have any of them. But if you had to choose one to back, I would probably go for West Ham. So with that, I would probably go a Cresswell or a Lingard. And then finally, Villa Spursy. The battle between who can have the most players out injured. Where don't forget, Spursy also played midweek in the Europa League. Oh yeah, Arsenal do as well. West Ham win confirmed. So Spursy here could actually be quite tight and a bit wibbly wobbly. But then again, they could also provide us with one of the best captaincy options this week. Where a Harry Kane and a Martinez will probably be the two most owned players in the entire blank game week. And it's literally a striker against the keeper. That's going to end well, right? But most people already have players in both. But if you don't have a Kane, it might be all pain for you this week. So there you go, that's all of the blank game week fixtures scouted by Bacon Boy right here. Where finally, I just want to say, if you do got your free hit and you are using it this week, why not just get in some proper risky boys in for it and try and absolutely smash it? Just go for it, lads. But if you don't have your wild card this week, don't worry too much about this game week. As you know, in a blank game week, there's actually not too many points to gain anyway. And then finally, you could still do pretty damn well in this game week, even with only 6 or 7 players if you get it right. So don't worry about it too much if you don't think you're prepared or you don't think you've got, a good enough team for it. As long as you have some players and get lucky with a captain return, then you're absolutely loving it anyway. No problemos. But that is it for the players to watch or more players to buy for the blank game week 29. So thanks for watching and remember...
Don't be a cheeky scrub. Subscribe to Nathan Bacon right now. Don't let your memes be dreams.